July, let me think about all the things I used while in July. This is my Moleskine Folio Cahier made by Rowena, and this is where I'm putting my notes for things that I have used in the month of July and also in the month of June. Just taking notes and taking stock of what I actually use. So when it all comes down to it, what can I possibly get by? In July, I went to Inverell, as you guys know, and I packed quite a few things with me. My pen roll, my pencil case, my Delphonics pouch. We went and picked our little kids up, and it was quite an adventure. 2 a.m. arriving, and I always think that I need to carry all the things when I'm going to Inverell, just in case. But sometimes I'm fooling myself, and I think it is very easy for us to fall into that trap of bring all the supplies. You never know. Now you're all going to get a little bit of a laugh when I actually show you the things that I used. Keep in mind the things that I took with me. My backpack was absolutely filled to the brim with art supplies, pouches, sketchbooks, pens, pencils, my journal, glue stick, every supply that you normally see me love and adore and use normally all the time. But I'm about to show you what I packed, and I'm about to show you what I used. And it is such an eye-opening experience to see that this is what I actually used. I used my Tiki Graphic 0.1. No surprises there, right? My vintage date stamp, my Visconti Venus pen, which I literally wrote about 4 words in, my archival ink pad for stamping, my stamp pad, and my HP sprocket. Everything that I possibly could need would have fit in a tiny pouch. So from all that to just that, it is ridiculous, the things we think we need. So moving along from that little experiment, let's have a look at what I used in the month of July. Now these are supplies that I feel I have used enough to warrant their place within this mix. If it was only used once or twice, they did not make the cut. These are things that I have continuously grabbed for, continuously used. So that is how they have become part of this documentation. So as you can see, those items that I took to Inverell were continuously used through the month of July. Also, my travel watercolor palette has definitely been something that I use a lot of. My watercolor brushes this month are the 4 and the 6 in the Princeton Neptune, and then the 4 and the 1 of my other brand, which was the Da Vinci brand. And a new entry into July is actually the Mission Gold Magello paints, and that is purely because Morning Pages, and I have found and rediscovered a love for these watercolors and have been using them quite a bit in my Morning Pages. And that's another thing, Morning Pages have really awoken something huge in me. I use my Cyclamen pink ink quite a lot on my Morning Pages, and I also use my D. Atramentis document ink, having to fill out my TWSBI Mini a total of 5 times this month, which is a new record. And there is my TWSBI Mini, my companion in the mornings of Morning Pages. It has been a pleasure writing every morning with it. My cloth gets used every single day and will continue until it falls apart, so of course it's in the July. And then next we have my neon pink pencil, which Christina gave me in a rack, and I do love it oh so much. As you can see, the pink pencil didn't make it this month. I didn't sketch once with it. Some graphic washi tape, one the illustrated face one and the triangle one that I love oh so dearly made it. It got used quite a bit. Next is the little pink sharpener from Daiso. a strange thing, but I happen to need it quite a lot because I used my Stabilo pencil quite a lot this month, and that was definitely something that made it, although not on screen yet. Glue stick, I've actually finished this one. My white Uniball gel pen, again something that came up last month, will continue to come up every month as it's my white pen, my one white pen that I actually really adore. And then I am probably looking for my Stabilo pencil. Now, going on to another facet is paper and scraps. This tape, although looking quite disheveled, was used quite a lot. Some pink note paper from Rifle Paper Company, I loved it. The Project Life cards in the square 4x4s were used continuously in the month of July, and also some journal fodder that I created, and also some photographs from my HP Sprocket. These things were used time and time again in the month of July, so they have their own little category of ephemera, basically. This sort of ephemera, this is the journal fodder that is coming up in a video. I used them a lot this month, just creating bits and pieces, especially when it came to my morning pages. And I'm just showing you a little bit of something because, you know, showing you supplies is one thing, and the reason why I filmed it in this way was purely because my next door neighbor are doing renovations and there was drilling, a lot of drilling, and I couldn't even predict when the drilling was going to actually stop, so I had to film it in this way with a voiceover instead. And because of that, I've had to just throw in a few little creative bits and pieces for you to watch, because I feel like just showing you the things that I used in July is not enough of a video. But I know that this is such an interesting concept to so many people, especially myself, knowing exactly what I've used throughout the month, knowing where my money's going. Am I spending money on things that I don't really need? When it comes to leather covers and things like that, I am definitely in the realm of buying too many things and not using them. And so I'm hoping that this series will actually show me and you guys that sometimes less is more, and I need to learn this lesson more than anyone else. Less is more, using what you have and really trying to embrace the year of use. So using some scraps and some journal fodder stuff that I made in a video that is coming up, I decided to sort of just put all the bits and pieces down, use my photographs, and try and remind you guys to keep taking photos and to keep using photos. I love the whole idea of making little collages on cards to make them for tip-ins, adding a tab on top and you're good to go. I'm actually going to translate this little video, this portion, into a Jane video using all her bits and pieces, because sometimes I think that people forget that you can make something from nothing. A few scraps of paper, a photograph of something you love, and before you know it, you've got this unique little piece of your life that you can pop into your journal, and it will be just yours and it won't look like anyone else's life but your own. So I really enjoy making collages with my photographs and also creating something from nothing. So using things that I used a lot this month, that archival ink pad, my date stamp, that gridded tape from the stationery selection. This is actually a piece of journal fodder from a collage sheet that this is the original, so sometimes I like to use the originals in my journal. I've just cut it in half and I'm going to use my tiny attacher just to attach that, and instantly I've got a little card to put into my journal at a later date. But let's talk about morning pages. As you guys know, I started morning pages last month, in July, so we are talking about July. And I know there's quite a lot of us that are doing morning pages, and I feel that they are doing some really good things for me mentally. They are really good at clearing away all the clutter that I wake up with. I'm not one of those people that wake up with a clear head. I go to bed with a busy mind. And then I wake with a busy mind. And so the morning pages at the crack of dawn in the cold with my tea and my blankets is a really great way for me to just get all that clutter out of my head, so when it's over I can close my journal and I can be ready to do all the things. I've even journaled in the mountains with Sian. Doing morning pages in the morning with her was such a lovely experience, and I'm glad that I got to do it. It was strange at first, but it was very, very lovely indeed. So this is where the Mijello Mission Gold watercolors have come in, and I don't know why I suddenly liked using them. I think it was because they're so vibrant and lovely, and I also really love how they're labeled. This is a palette that I put together. I have tubes of the watercolor, and I'm using Viridian and Indigo and Prussian Blue in this spread. So they're the three colors that I've been really drawn to. I did actually document the colors that I was really drawn to this month, just to see how my palettes have changed. I tried to stay away from pink a little bit this month to see if I could push myself, and the morning pages with the little painted backgrounds are really, really helpful for trying different colorways, trying not to make mud, but really just having fun with color and see what colors look really good together. So I have been really enjoying that. Another thing that got quite a bit of use are the Danielle Donaldson stamps that I got from Stamping Bella, and I am so in love with them. This is the paint chip one, so I'm just documenting those three colorways that I just painted on the page as a way to put that into my notebook, because they were colors that I was really drawn to this month, that I had really loved using in my morning pages, and I found myself picking those colors a lot. So this is Prussian Blue as well, and also Indigo again, so those two blues featuring again, and then a slight change by going with a red brown, and that was the only different color, but I just love how it looks so, you know, rusty, and I had so many compliments on this colorway, and it's so different from what I would normally do with the pink and the yellow and all that sort of thing, the pink, blue and yellow, my comfort zone. So I liked the whole idea of morning pages is also helping me really explore color in a different way than what I have been before. So with the debunking of my brain and the enjoyment of playing with color, I think morning pages are truly, truly magical. Maria and I have chatted about how we feel like they are creating magic in our lives, and I think that if you haven't started morning pages, maybe you should give it a try. I am a full-blown convert. So I'm just grabbing my folio, which has my Moleskine Cahiers in it, and I've been making notes about the things that I used during the month. I sat there yesterday with Jo, who came to visit me, and as she worked on something, I took notes and thought about the supplies that I used all month. While staring at my desk, I was thinking about, what have I picked up? What have I not picked up? It was a surprise that my pink pencil didn't get any use this month. I have been using my Tiki Graphic mechanical pencil, but mainly that neon pink pencil from Christina has been a faithful companion this month. I have done a lot of watercolors, and so the watercolors did make it in, but I only really ventured out of my travel palette when I was doing the owl this month, and the colors were very similar, all shades of brown and orange, so not even enough for me to put in the documentation because they literally got used for the owl. But the Mission Gold has been used quite a lot this month, which is why it got featured instead of my other Daniel Smith palette. Now, as you know, my travel palette will probably get changed up in the month of August. I try and move the colors in and out to see if I tend to reach for it or if I don't. So I have those new Daniel Smith colors currently in that palette, and they did get quite a workout this month, but I have this feeling that when I change the colors out, I may not pull it out as often as now, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. I am considering creating a palette, the mixing palette by Jane Blundell, and having that separate, and trying to spend the month of August just using that palette and seeing what I can mix from it. And that would honestly mean creating your calendar image from that palette. So maybe it's a challenge for me to do that and to really test my skills and really experiment more. Well, I have no choice but to experiment more, but sometimes I think it's good for us to get out of our comfort zone, and sometimes I think it's really good to see all the supplies that we surround ourselves with, but we keep coming back to the same things over and over and over. So do we really need that new shiny thing? I'm the wrong person to ask, because I will always say yes, and I'm pretty sure half the Inkies in the group are the wrong people to ask, because we always say yes. It's the magpie syndrome. I'm just setting up the paint swatches. As you can see, the colors there are what's in my travel palette, and I did switch them in around the 13th of July, and they have stayed that way the whole time. I did talk about changing a few of the colors out, but I never did, and it didn't worry me that I didn't. I continued to use that little palette. Having it in my pen roll certainly does make it handy. And if you notice, the pouches that I used this month did not include the small Delphonics pouch. That was my planner pouch, and I didn't reach for it once in the month of July. It has stayed on my desk open with the things in it that I put in there, but I have not used it. But my medium Delphonics pouch goes everywhere with me like a shadow. My pen roll gets used every day. The other Superior Labor pouch that holds all my fountain pens, while I carry it with me, I do get a fountain pen out every now and again, but I haven't used it the way that my leather pen roll and my medium Delphonics pouch gets used. So it's so interesting to see how we change, and you're going to see a little bit more of a change coming soon. But I find this fascinating to think about. What are we using? What are we not using? Are you doing the documentation? Are you thinking about it? Do you think you would benefit from this sort of look at your supplies? Even if it's just taking a photograph and taking notes on it. You don't have to get as in-depth as I am, because I'm obviously filming this for you guys to show you what I use and what I don't use. There is no need to go as crazy in-depth as I do, but I'm making content for you guys, and I actually find it truly fascinating. I love supplies. I love pencil case videos, what's in my bag videos, all that sort of stuff. So it's interesting to see what other people are using, and so I know that you guys would totally love it. I have added a few more notes since this little flip, but I was losing light, so I stopped there. But I will add some more photographs down below for you in the bottom half of this post. So with all those supplies, there is a little shake up in the month of August. I will leave you with this, and only this. I will say nothing else, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.